to Tokyo. It is the middle of December now, 2020. That in the distance is the beautiful Tokyo Sky Tree with Etaibashi, which has been newly redone for the 2020-2021 Olympics. How you doing, everybody? How you doing? So we're kind of in a neutral area here on the bridge, and I wanted to go over some of the travel updates, kind of give you a feeling of what domestic travel is like right now in Japan. Over the last couple of months, I've traveled more than I have the entire year, and I thought I would give you some feedback and share with you my opinions, my feelings about traveling here at this time. I know many of you had to cancel your trips in the beginning of the year through probably until the middle of 2021, and we're not sure even now. But I thought this would be a great time to talk about traveling in Japan. So many things have happened as well, and I wanted to give you a chance to ask me some questions that you might have on your mind, so we can maybe pass the ball forward a little bit. So when 2021 does hit, we will be ready with travel. So I'm looking at the live chat right now. One of the questions that I asked was asked by Tony on Patreon. It was, John, do you feel comfortable traveling right now in Japan? And the answer is not 100% no, not really. But I think with a lot of people, especially in the United States right now, there's a fear because the numbers are so high. And here in Japan, we just passed, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, over 3,000 people in one day. Was infected. It was the highest number since this pandemic started, and that's kind of a psychological factor. People got quite worried about this, and more people are staying home. Yesterday, the thumbnail that you see, yesterday I came back on the Shinkansen. I was traveling on the Shinkansen from Keisanuma, from Ichinoseki back to Tokyo through Sendai, and after Sendai there was maybe 3 people on the train. Nobody was traveling to Tokyo from Tohoku. Everybody that was traveling was going from Tokyo maybe to Tohoku, but very few people were coming back or coming from Tohoku to Tokyo, and it's just part of the pandemic. And I think for the second or third time this year I had face shields, a face shield, and I'm the only one that I saw a couple of days ago using a face shield. Almost no normal people are using face shields. Like when I say normal, like I'm talking about people that aren't dealing with customers and stuff. And you can see here on the riverbank, one of the reasons why I came here is so you can get a slice of everyday life here in Tokyo. Not a lot of people are wearing face shields, but everybody seems to be wearing a mask. People are social distancing as much as they can. Train travel hasn't really stopped much at all. I know in April, Japan was doing temperature checks and making sure that everybody had a mask on, or encouraging people to wear masks. There's no actual penalties if you don't want to wear a mask. But as a community, as a society, Japanese tend to just to do what everybody else is doing, just to conform to the laws and rules. And maybe that's one of the reasons why it's not as bad here. The other one might be is there's just not as many tests as there are in the West. I don't know. But not a lot of people that I know have come down with COVID here in Japan. So not yet, at least not until recently. And I think it was about a month ago, or a little bit over a month ago, that the numbers started to change. Pretty much after the last travel update, the numbers started to get really, really bad, where Tokyo was receiving over 500 people a day, which is not too bad for, Spaceboat, not too bad for a major metropolitan area to have just 500 people. And I say just because even one is too much. Yeah. Spaceboat's going by here. So do I feel safe? Not really. But I got to do it for work. It's just something that I have to do. Spaceboat passes right here. Tomorrow I'm going to be flying to Kochi Prefecture. I'll be taking a plane up to from Haneda to Kochi, and I'm a little bit worried about that. But I've flown maybe 4 times, and domestic flights have pretty much not changed Everybody's wearing masks. People stopped talking, and I noticed that people are following the instructions of the pilot and the staff almost down to a T. People are getting up when the rows are called. People are staying seated when we arrive. It's pretty amazing to see, but I feel pretty safe on a flight, but not like I did before. I guess that's the way to say it. I'm looking here at the chat. I'm not seeing the chat. Let me try to restart this. Hold on. Maybe did that restart the chat? I'm not seeing the chat popping up here. Jotty's was the last one. All right, I've restarted the chat. Hopefully that this does something with this. I don't see it has. This could be a Nightbot that we have added into the chat. Nosh, I don't know what's happening here. This is supposed to be a Q&A too, and there's nobody to ask questions. Oh my. All right, maybe we have some movement here. Hold on. Okay, I see the chat's not back on yet. It stopped at 14:36, which was about 3 minutes ago. The chat just stopped. Yeah, no more chat. So I guess the Nightbot, we activated a robot that's helping out with the chat, and that Nightbot pretty much has turned everybody off, I think, which is worrying. The robots have taken over. Anyways, I'm going to give you my experiences for the next 10 minutes anyways, and I think that this is going to be a useful live stream for, anyways, like a place in history and to see in nothing. I disabled Nightbot. Okay, I'm still not seeing the chat though. It's weird. I did restart the app. I'm going to try one more time because it's important for me to have the feedback with you guys here. All right, maybe this will work. I shut off the app and turned it back on, but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it worked at all. Let's see if I can see anybody who's... No. Really? I got Air to the Ron from Patreon. Are those domestic travel deals packages as far as including rail and air with a certain company? Any differences between the COVID protocols? I know that the Go-To travel campaign was canceled in about a couple of cities. I know that Osaka and Sapporo sort of ended the deal where they're discouraging people to come to those cities. And then my friend Peter went down there anyways, but I think it was a work thing. Peter's kind of funny that way. But Sapporo pretty much ended the Go-To travel campaign, and the situation up in Hokkaido is really bad right now. I know Asahikawa, and I have friends up there, said that the hospitals are all full. They had, in one of the hospitals, they had a cluster, so a lot of people just got infected from the hospital, and that infected other hospitals, and then it just expanded really, really quickly. It's so cold in Asahikawa, and that's sort of, I guess, what we're up against here. So flying to Hokkaido is probably not going to be something that I do for a while, which is a shame because I had some ideas of episodes up there in the winter. Yeah, so we're seeing Japan numbers not going down, and this is impacting travel deals. There's not as many, but a lot of businesses are hurting, seriously hurting. So there's not a lot of things that we can do to help. I'm laughing because I seriously want to help as many local businesses as possible, but restaurants and places, hotels, family businesses, family ryokans, a lot of stuff connected with travel just cannot continue, and they're feeling the weight. The government is feeling it from both sides. On the one side, they have to get travel, at least domestic travel, kicked into gear, right? At least to try to throw people a lifeline, because the government just does not have money to hand to people anymore. I'm trying to do that by going up to places like Keisanuma with this Japan Rail project that I've been doing. I've been encouraging people to travel outside of Tokyo, try to go up to Tohoku, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. I don't really know, but my heart, we get double space boat going on here. My heart is always to trying to find a way to help people. And it's really, 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 really hard in a pandemic. You can't just stop everything because people still need to keep their businesses going. And I was up in Kesanuma just yesterday and the day before, talking with, and I'm going to be up there. It was mostly a scouting trip. I'm going to be back up there to film an episode because I have friends up there still, after volunteering 10 years ago, running food up there with foreign volunteers, Japan, and a couple of food banks here. And encouraging travel to those regions now is really hard because I know that they need it, and yet like they don't want to encourage people to go there to travel. It's like a rock and a hard place right now. It's really, really hard. I'm going to Kochi tomorrow, and it's just a job that was scheduled a long time ago. If it wasn't, I wouldn't go. It's time sensitive. I have no choice. I have 2 nights there, 3 days. I have to film, and I'm coming back right away. And I'm not traveling for the rest of the year outside of Tokyo. Nothing planned, not especially air travel. But I have to film something that I can only film at this time of year, or I have to wait until next year. So I have the flights, I have the hotel reservations, and I don't want to cancel. And it's really, really hard. I'm going to be wearing a face shield. I'm going to have on 2 masks. And the reason why I wear 2 masks is because one mask, none of the masks fit me well, the way my face is shaped or something. I have a very small face. So the Japanese masks are always a little bit too big. So I need 2 masks, and I'll probably have a face shield on there. And then I feel snug, meaning it's harder for me to get, I know that I'm breathing the air through the filter. So I'll be as protected as I can. When I arrive, I'm gonna change clothes, put it in a bag where I'll wash it, and then just gargle with alcohol and change my mask and try to stay as protected as possible. That's all that I can possibly do to protect me and the other people that'll be around. I take my temperature daily. This was something that was necessary for the Japan Rail project. I had to take my temperature every day and record it, and I've been doing that for over 2 months now, and I haven't had a fever. I had a couple of days where I had a spike where I caught a cold, but it wasn't related to COVID. The person who I was with that was sick was fine. So I was really worried about it. So we did call and ask, and he was out of the office for 2 days and with a cold. So these little things are really important to check and then trace back and make sure that you didn't catch it from somebody. And if you do work with somebody, to keep in touch with them and make sure that you're not a spreader, a super spreader. I don't want to be that person. Again, I was hoping that there would be some kind of chats here. Raymond Centeno, do you feel more comfortable traveling by plane or by Shinkansen? That's really, really hard. The thing with plane is probably the air is cycled through so quickly every 3 minutes that you might actually be safer on a plane than the Shinkansen. The Shinkansen said they cycle the air every 8 minutes. New air is cycled through there. The plane is every 3 minutes. But you're really, really close to people on the plane, and you can't escape. You can't leave. Where on a Shinkansen, you can walk and get up, which is a double blade, meaning you can be closer to people that are infected. But the Shinkansen, for the most part, has not been overly crowded, despite the Go To Travel campaign. I've been able to distance myself and not be in clusters of people on the Shinkansen, which is good. And when you do get reservations, the staff does try to space people out appropriately. But I know Japan Rail has lost maybe 70 to 80% of its ridership, so revenue down for that public transportation is way down. And I know that this might have helped prompt the JR East Welcome Rail Pass. Do I have that on me? That's a rail pass that allows people like me, foreigners living in Japan, like something like the Japan Rail Pass. Do I have it with me? I don't know if I have it. No, I just have the reservation ticket. But the pass is 12,000 yen, and I get to travel for 3 days of unlimited Shinkansen up to Tohoku, and I've been filming a lot up there. But that opportunity is just because ridership is down, and that opened up new opportunities where JR was exploring and experimenting and trying to find new markets. And opening it up to people like me was one thing, because travelers help promote Japan by posting pictures on social media, and we in a foreign language do that. So I think it's in the benefit to encourage people to let us have free Shinkansen, or at like at a really, really cheap price. I don't know. It's just me, because it's really important for me anyways, because I spend a lot of money riding the Shinkansen and taking public transportation. The subways and the trains here, I avoid peak hours, and if I have to meet somebody for business reasons, for a meeting or something, I'll ride my bicycle. And for me, to get from this side of the city to Shibuya, it takes me about 35-40 minutes. And if I ride my bicycle to Shinjuku, it takes me almost an hour. So it's quite a long ride, just to be safe. But again, it like keeps me in a little bit better shape, because I think we're all a little bit out of shape because of not being able to go to the gym as much as we'd like to. Subways and the city trains are something that worries me. The buses worry me. For the most part, this is really important in Japan. People aren't talking when they're in crowded areas, and I think that might be one of the reasons why things have spread a little bit. When you are confined in these places, people are wearing masks, but there are people who talk and people who say nothing. And I'm one of these people who, I don't want to talk when I'm in a taxi. I don't want to talk when I'm on a public transportation. I don't want to talk when I'm on the Shinkansen. We can talk when we get off of it, but I know every time we take off the mask and talk when we're eating, there's a chance that, this spreads this on public transportation. So meal services, they don't discourage the ekibens on the Shinkansen. You can eat bentos, but they discourage talking when you're eating. And that's something that I think is a good thing. And for the most part, everybody in Japan, two old ladies were talking with the masks on when they got on the train at Omiya when I went up there. And then they got a bento out. I'm like, oh, brother. These ladies are so chatty. I know that they're going to talk with their masks off. And they took their masks off and didn't say a word. They ate their bento, put the masks back on, and they said maybe 2 or 3 things, and then they went to sleep. That was a pretty good lunch. What was in there? I wonder what was in their ekiben. For the most part, though, that people are well-mannered and not talking on the Shinkansen, not, I don't know, they're keeping risk down, and that's really good. The Shinkansen, and this is an episode that I'm going to be producing later on this month, maybe the start of January, is how they clean the trains. Since I have the opportunity to work with Japan Rail, I'm going to show you how they clean the trains and how they sanitize public transportation in Tokyo. And I'm really curious myself. I'll be scouting this out, and I went to Ueno Station last week to meet with Japan Rail and discuss the episode that I want to do. And this is something, and I'd love your feedback on this. What are some of the questions that you would have for the city of Tokyo and for Japan Rail that would make you feel safer about riding public transportation? For me, as somebody who loves trains, as a train otaku, I don't want to lose my trains. I wanted to keep rolling. So finding how they sanitize it is really, really, it's fascinating to me. So I'm going to be bringing that story probably in the beginning of January as I film it and study the chemicals and things like that they're using. It's very, very interesting stuff. So the trains here, subways, the peak hours are not as bad because more people are working from home, but it's still not as good. It's still crowded, but people aren't talking and everyone's wearing masks. There's not a lot of social distancing. I had to ride the train once and I was scared to death, and I decided never to do it again. I ride in off-peak hours. Either I get up really early in the morning, or I ride my bicycle, or I leave at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, or I just take a taxi, because I don't travel that much, where I just sort of, taking a taxi in the center of Tokyo is not too expensive. Just don't do it often. That's my rule. Take the taxis, okay, just don't do it often. And try to ride share, which you can't do too much now. That's about it. I'm really, really trying my best to look at the chats, but there's nothing here. Let's see here. I stopped at Jadi's Aloha, Brenda. Okay, maybe there's something here. Somebody say something. There's nothing. I have some old questions here. Shane writes in here, always keep safe. Brenda says aloha. I don't know why the chat is gone. It's gone funky. It's gone a little funky there. Jimmy Pressler. My first super chat got eaten. No, Jimmy, it popped up now. Do you think COVID-19 vaccines will be required for foreigners entering Japan? All right. No, you didn't get eaten, Jimmy. I got it right here. Jimmy. We got it. I was doing some research before I started this episode because I asked Patreon supporters what are some of the questions that they had, and this actually came up, Jimmy. In the news in the Japan Times yesterday was a really good article that said that Japan, Pfizer thinks, was it Pfizer? Somebody, or experts in the UK, I should say, because Pfizer's, experts in the UK think that Japan will be the last big economy to get the vaccine. And this is a result of Japan being Japan. So I believe you're going to need a vaccine to travel anywhere. Australia, I think the Prime Minister of Australia said this in a speech recently, a couple of weeks ago, but the vaccine is critical. It makes other people feel safer on the plane, but also when you enter a country, it makes, like having proof that you have been vaccinated makes it very easy for you to get through. And I mean, there's going to be fake proof, and I don't know how they're going to do this, biometric data or something to make sure that you have been vaccinated. It's a lot. A database of vaccinated people. That's also worrying for privacy concerns. But they're going to require vaccinations and maybe even PCR testing this year, and then we'll see. But it doesn't look like Japanese are going to start to get vaccinated until March, was what the news had said recently. And again, I don't think anybody really knows. It seems like Japan had purchased about 60 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and then I don't know, I guess they put their hopes in the domestic vaccine machine, but they never had, after getting sued in the 1990s because of MMR vaccines. Japan's government is really good at making vaccines, but they stopped doing it for decades, and now they restarted, and I don't think that it's as good as it used to be. Everything is really segmented. Japanese companies don't like to share with foreign companies. There's no partnerships, really. It's just hard to get stuff done in Japan. There's the Hanko culture. I find it very challenging to work with big Japanese corporations because the process is super slow, but that also makes it a little bit safer, maybe. But when speed is an element, speed is necessary, it is very, very hard. Kanai and I are talking, and we're like, we don't think we're going to be able to get a vaccine until March, okay? And even then, probably not until like the summer, just based on what we're hearing. So we're going to have to, so we're buckling down and just getting used to wearing face shields, masks, and keep up the routine that we've been doing for the last few months. And maybe it's a good idea for all of us to do that, at least, even though the vaccine is here. Nobody cheer yet. Just kind of protect yourself and your families for a little bit longer. Just take the normal protocols as you did before. This affects everybody differently, right? So Jimmy, your super chat did not get eaten. I saw it. It's like working, sort of. We'll fix this. We'll fix this on the other side. I don't know, in the next stream tomorrow. I'm going to be flying from Haneda Airport tomorrow, so I'm expect a live stream tomorrow morning. I'm going to be getting on a flight from Haneda Airport to Kochi, and we're renting a car, and I'm driving to the countryside of Kochi to stay in a ryokan there. And they always do temperature checks, and staying in the hotels has been something that has been worried, but a lot of the good hotels will have these alcohol wipes that you can wipe down the room yourself as well after you arrive. But the housekeepers, I really trust the hotels that do that, because if they put out these alcohol wipes, and I'm pretty sure that the housekeeping has access to alcohol wipes and are sanitizing everything after the guest before leaves. So that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. But I've stayed in a lot of hotels over the last few weeks. And I've noticed different levels of cleanliness. And I bring my own alcohol wipes, and I clean the hotels as well. I don't change the sheets or anything like that, but maybe, it depends on different levels of paranoia. I'm not as paranoid, but I am a little bit. As you know, with the crows, it's all around us, these crows. Still no chats here. I'm supposed to be taking questions from the people. This is supposed to be question and answers. This is going completely wrong. Let me see here. Like, I'm supposed to be getting questions for. Buses I have not traveled on. Mostly bicycles. Here's a boat going by. Space boat was mostly empty. Even on a Sunday. But like the owners of these tours and trips, they still have to make a living, and they sell the packages, but they're not as cheap. They're not really discounted so much, but you do get the GoTo travel campaign discounts, which the government will pay you back for expenses that you incur, as well as you get these coupons as well that for like free money, basically incentive. But for the tour makers themselves, they're not really giving too many discounts. Not all the hotels are accepting them as well. And there's various levels of the GoTo travel campaign. It's not an easy thing to try to get through. That's kind of interesting here. I'm gonna tinker behind the scenes while you guys look at these skiers going along the Samita River here. Jet skiers. That's kind of weird to find out in December. Dave Spector 1065 is here. Hi, thank you, Dave. Angel Forever 59 is an insider. I can see these super chats. What? Saw WX Turbos here. But the normal chat's kind of funky. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, now the chat's working. It worked a little bit. Nasa, just saw you tag me. Tony P, 14 people on the boat. COVID claims 3,000 a day now. Can you restart the chat? I tried Bronson like twice. I love to watch your vlogs. Thank you, Rohan. Toro Porco, I'm seeing you. Okay, so I get some questions. How's your day? That's a good question. It's pretty good. Kind of busy. Editing. Got the fireworks project video that I'm on right now, and a sushi video that I'm trying to release soon. And the video that I took at Mount Fuji, I'm editing that a little bit. It's pretty good. It's a quiet day. I thought I would live stream. So, thanks for asking. Appreciate that. How you doing? Now that this chat stopped, it's weird. It like starts and stops. If you do ask a question, ask a question. Don't don't just chat with each other. Ask a question. Sometimes I see it. Okay, there's a question. How's your day? All right, I don't know. Tomorrow's flight is going to be interesting. I'm probably going to be taking a taxi to Haneda Airport, which costs me about $35-40. And then the flight gets me in there in the morning. We rent a car. It's pretty much before there's a lot of traffic. And the first flight out of Haneda, usually there's not a lot of people. We're going to see in the airport tomorrow what the situation is. I'm going to take you inside of Haneda Airport, and together we're going to go through the gate one more time. Because each time I do it, we see something different. We see like a different, different procedures for it. This is an ANA flight from Haneda to Kochi. So I know that they were doing temperature checks last time, or they had a machine that would check to see if you pass or fail, which was good. But they are screening as well, doing their private screens behind a camera, but you also know what your temperature is, I think, before you get to the private screening, so you don't freak people out. I am checking in luggage, which is kind of cool. I always like the ANA domestic luggage check-in. That's about it. I don't have too much. You can see the people on the bridge. I have separated myself from them in this little enclave safety measure. I see a lot of people joining the the memberships though. I see a lot of people joining the memberships, but I don't see the chats anymore. It's weird. All right. I tried to restart it one more time. Nothing. So there you go. Leave me a comment below and I'll check the comments. There's a thread here. I'll check the comments and answer some of your questions. I do appreciate it very much for those that are giving. I can see the super chats, but it stopped at Jari's Jardy halts 14 people on boat. I don't know why. Yeah, sorry about that. This stream has gone weird. It's like I feel like I'm alone now, but I'm not. Because I can't, when I see the chat, I know I'm not alone, but I feel like I'm alone. Because chat's gone. It's weird. I keep saying it. It doesn't get any less weird. It gets weirder. So how about we do this tomorrow? I'll be back tomorrow from Haneda Airport, and we'll talk about this. I'll try to do, I am trying to do more Twitch, so I'll be back on the Twitch this month from a hiatus. I'm building a studio when I have time, but I'm not here. I'm here today, but I'm editing. So I come back to Tokyo on the 16th, and I'm not leaving Tokyo for the rest of the year. I'm just gonna be editing and setting up the Twitch studio thing that I have an idea for. So that's going to be something really good. I also have a new channel that I'm planning to launch, of course. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. So we're going to work on making Only in Japan brand even stronger, starting in January 2021, which is a pretty good thing. And oh, by the way, the last thing I want to leave you with is I do have some postcards that I'm putting into the box right now. There's 6 people. Sean from Australia, Clarissa in Shelby in the USA, Tommy in Finland, Harry in Glendora, USA, David in Hungary, Amar in New York, and Gunther in Germany. These are all going out to you guys here. Postcards, Kanai and I. Kind of an end of 2020. It's a pretty good photo here. And I put in here the stamp for the new year. This is a Reiwa 3 stamp. Yeah. Ches14 wrote in here, the chat's kind of working. It's sort of working. Is it possible to get a work visa? I don't know, Ches. I'm more on public transportation today. Yeah. I don't know. What is the new channel? It's more like smaller stories. I get a lot of content that I want to edit, but not everything is story worthy. So I want to have a channel where I can put edited content, maybe on Go. I'm not quite sure, but I think another channel might be pretty interesting. We'll talk about it a little bit. The chat is sort of working now. Is it fixed? I don't know. It could be a YouTube thing. Only in Japan, bite size, something like that, Raymond, actually. Oh, it is fixed. Okay, goody. And the wind is picking up. What happened? Did Nosh probably fixed it. Nosh did it. Nosh knows what he's doing. And even if it wasn't him, just let's just think it was Nosh. Nosh fixed it. Thank you, Nosh. Abroad. Woot. Is the T silent in woot? Nobody said woot when I was in college in the 1990s. This word W-O-O-T. Is the T silent? You says woo woo, or is it woot woot? I've never heard it. So Jari, is it woot woot or woo woo? Kanai asked me that. Everyone's been doing woot. It's with the T. What is it, like woot or what? What? A T for sure. It's no silent T. Okay, it is with the T. So people actually go, oh, it's what? So is it? People actually go around like going woot 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 like this. Sounds like an animal. That I have to think. Yeah, TT. Is that the foreign version? I'm so excited that the chat is fixed. Brendania, the chat is not broke. The chat is fixed, Brendania. This is proof. Common Writer Rogue, I'm planning to travel to Tokyo next February. What inn hotel can you recommend? I live here, so I don't stay in any hotels, and I don't know what your budget is, so that's hard. I don't recommend capsule hotels because I don't think it's a really comfortable place, but it's kind of interesting for a night. If you're on a budget, I got no problem with Appa Hotel. They're usually about 5,000 yen or $50, maybe a little bit more in certain places. I like in Tokyo, I like the the gate tower, the gate inn, the gate tower inn. There's 2 or 3 of them now in Tokyo. They opened one up in Ginza, and they're usually pretty reasonably priced. The Intercontinental Hotel on the Bayside is actually really nice, and it's close to the Yamanote line, and you get beautiful views of Rainbow Bridge and Tokyo Bay. That's often the cheapest intercontinental hotel, which is about 15,000 yen, 15 to 18,000 yen per night, which is a little maybe on the pricier end for some people. Then there's the Peninsula. It gets pretty pricey here. But Appa Hotel seems to be the old go-to, and they do have a point card. I don't know if that helps. I live here, so I usually in Tokyo do not stay in hotel here. I stay at my house. Kanai's happy about that too. Hoping that the chat gets fixed. Michael Sasano, when does JR sanitize the Shinkansen during stops? Not during stops. They do it at the terminals. So when they get into Tokyo, they have 7 minutes, and they're very strict about cleaning the trains. But with the protocols for COVID, they've had to get a little bit more efficient and use different chemicals that are stronger and change everything and make sure that things are wiped down. And they do an incredible job, and I'm going to be going in there and getting that story. I don't really know yet. I'm still kind of scouting the story out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go into the live chat here. Great. Oh, this is so cool. I don't feel like I'm alone again. All right, people are talking about the issues. Did it stop again? It works properly, so the answer is yes. Are the very basic business hotels tolerable? Michael writes in here. In terms of hotels, the business hotels are tolerable, but Japan still has smoking rooms. And 2 days ago, when we checked into the hotel in Keisanuma, they gave us a smoking room on the 5th floor, and I had to go down to the lobby, and I said, no, I want a Kinyan. Hey, I want a no smoking room, please. And they were very polite and switched me over to a non-smoking room. But Japan has still smoking floors and smoking rooms. And you just have to make sure and be careful in a business hotel, especially in a business hotel where 1/3 of the hotel might be smoking. You have to be careful you don't get into a smoking room, or sometimes not be over a smoking room, because the smoke could somehow, if the guy's a heavy smoker, leaks up into the room above, depending on how old the building is. I've had that happen. So just be careful if you're a non-smoker, or if you are a smoker, this might be your paradise. They did have, I don't think right now, I know that some of the Appa hotels were designated as places where people with coronavirus could separate from their families. But now a lot of people that I've heard that have it are separating them in a different room, or they're making boxes or walls to separate people who are sick with it. But if a family, because in most Japanese households, they share a toilet and a shower, there's only one in the entire house, it makes it really, really difficult. So let's just say that if it does increases in Japan, it's going to be really, really difficult to contain it, just because Japanese homes are so small, especially in the cities. But the hotels there were some places that were quarantine zones, and the Appa Hotel, there's one, I think in Hachobori, not too far away from here, was considered, I guess, one of those places. I'm not sure if they're still in operation, but in April and May it was. Yeah. These are great questions now that the chat is working. Now that the chat is working. Look at this, I see it. Local tourists and COVID patients in the same hotel. There's no local tourists staying at the Appa Hotel. If the hotel has been sanctioned as a place for people with COVID to quarantine, other people are not staying there. There was no tourism because there was a state of emergency at the time, so there was no tourism. In fact, Kanai and I rented a car, and we tried to drive around Mount Fuji and come back just to break up our day, and we got in trouble. We did a live stream in Fujinomiya, and Japanese were angry at us because we were supposed to be staying at home, even though we never left the car except to go to a waterfall, and people were very happy about that. But we were 2 days before the end of the state of emergency. I think it was like the 1 day before the state of emergency, and people in Japan got angry at us. Photo look Hawaii. Hey, aloha. How's Austin doing? Hey, Austin. Cheryl. For Japan, do you see a lot of children on the trains or domestic flights like normal, or do you notice that they're staying at home? Austin has class online every day. I have not seen any kids on the flights. I've been on 4 flights since the end of the state of emergency in May. I've been on 4 flights. I didn't see any kids. It was mostly business travelers. And there's some people who are going home. I didn't see any too many tourists. Everybody was pretty much business travelers, and they knew the routine, and they just kept their mouths shut. On the Shinkansen, I haven't seen too many kids. I've seen some babies. I've seen some people who look like they were returning home. There are some kids, but I don't see a lot. Nothing like it was before, Luke. Nothing like when the last time you were here. Basically, people are driving more. The highways are more crowded. During the last holiday, during the summer, the highways Peter reported 100-kilometer traffic jam. 100 kilometers the traffic jam was for him to get home. It took him all like hours and hours and hours longer than usual. And luckily, I think there was a toilet in his rented car. So he had that going. People are driving more because they think it's safer. But the service areas, the rest stops on the highways are also worry places. But again, I think if you're in and out and you're washing your hands and taking precautions and distancing, you're going to be okay. It's just the risk is higher now than it was just a month ago, and it's going to get even higher because it doesn't look like Japan will have a vaccine till March, which was worrying news. Japan Times, again, I'll put a link in the description with that article. It was a pretty good article that was enlightening for me to read. It doesn't look like that we're going to have a vaccine here. We're going to be one of the last countries with the vaccine. So everybody in England should be rejoicing that it started. And then here, I don't know when. But, we have 3,000 people a day getting sick. So it's not quite as bad as the U.S., which had, I think, 250,000 in a day, which is the entire population of Japan over the entire course of this pandemic. But again, the testing is different. There's a lot of things that are different. So I take that in consideration. I know that there's like 2% of you that are going to say that. We're testing more. Okay, I'll concede that, But still, it's still a huge difference, right? Tony P is happy because I could see that, Tony. I got it, Tony. And I'm going to do fireworks update, fireworks project update tonight. I have to translate the message from the Fireworks Association. They had a message for everybody, so that'll be coming. All the postcards seem to have arrived, and I'm going to ask and see if anybody had not given me their address. There's about 30 people who didn't give me their address, and we'll take care of that tonight if we can. It's cool. I can see the chat. It's like a totally different thing. Lisa O. How difficult will traveling be for older people with slightly restricted mobility? It's more of a challenge. I think there's no denying that. You have more contact with more people when you have a disability because you require a little bit more help at many stations. There's more elevators that have popped up on public transportations in Japan, and even outside of Japan, it's getting easier. But there's more contact involved, I think, and it's a little bit more challenging. It's always going to be challenging for people with mobility issues, but I really, over the last year, have seen Japan, especially with the Olympics coming, doing a better job to make it less challenging. And then if we can make it just seamless, that would be the ideal situation. But we're not, until we're at that point. And I think robotics is going to play a big, for people with mobility issues. Japan will probably be at the forefront of making this a seamless process because robotics is already playing a big part. In those who can't walk, there are robotic legs that help people start to walk again for the first time. These are things we're seeing on domestic TV that maybe you're not seeing. So it's robotics, which is helping Japan's older population and also people who are disabled and they can't get around. I think in the next 5-10 years, we're going to have some pretty big breakthroughs in Japan. It's a great question. I'm really glad that you asked that, Lisa. That's something that I'm want to focus on in 2021. The access for people who are disabled, traveling to Japan disabled is something I think has seen massive amount of improvement since I came here 23 years ago. And I think it's a pretty good story. And I know one of the CEOs of one of the companies that's making some of the tech, and I'm going to get them involved in the episodes. So it's going to be a pretty good episode on the Only in Japan channel. YouTube.com/John Daub. If you have not subscribed to the new channel, please do. A lot of people are watching it and not knowing that they're not subscribed because I changed to a new channel. So make sure you subscribe to the new channel because we could use some love. We're so close to 100,000 subscribers. Kamen Rider Rogue is a new traveler. Thank you. Actually, Kamen Rider, that's an awesome mask that you got there. I think we should put that as one of the emoji. We're gonna add in some new emoji for our travelers here. All right, I got a couple of more minutes before I freeze to death. It is December. Alex Tang is subscribed. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Jari is also subscribed. And Jari, I'll talk to you about your postcard troubles to Finland. I don't know what's happening, but they've all been sent. And my other Finnish. Is that the right? Finnish supporters have received their postcards in Lapland up in the north too. So I wonder why. You know, my leg's doing good. Thanks for asking about that. It took months to heal, but it's still slightly bruised, if you can believe that. But the swelling is I'd say 5% there. There's some scar tissue in there maybe. So I massage it every day, but it's doing a lot better. And I still am not running. I've put on a significant amount of weight. I'd say like 7 kilograms this year. Just because I can't get to the gym and do my regular routine, and I'm getting older, my knees hurt, and lots of little teeny problems have popped up because I'm getting older. But that's not keeping me from, and I'm eating worse. That's not keeping me from trying my best anyways. You know, you try to stay in shape. Is that mask any good? Not really. The masks here, this is the mask. I'll wear this mask, which doesn't irritate my skin, and then put a paper mask in it to help protect other people. But it's not the best mask in the world. It's not a pollen mask either. I can't blow out a candle with it, okay? So I know that if I cough with it, if I cover my hand with it and cough, and I know that it's keeping a lot in, but it's not keeping enough of it in. But it's better than nothing. And it allows me to breathe. And out here, there really isn't that many people. So you can wash these daily, but I wash it maybe 3 times and throw it away and use a new one. If you're going on public transportation or into crowded areas, that's not a good mask, the one that I use. Peter uses that as well. A lot of people are using these masks as well. But if I'm going on public transportation, I'm wearing like N95 masks, or I'm wearing regular masks, paper masks, or different kind of masks. I'm not wearing this one. If I'm going around, like going for a walk outside, I wear this mask because it makes other people feel more comfortable. And I know it does do something. It's not meaningless because I tried to blow out a candle and I couldn't, which means that it's knocking down a great deal of whatever is coming out, but it's not knocking down everything. I know, like, everybody is talking about masks and face coverings. This is what we would consider to be the bare minimum. Having 2 layers is always the best. N95 is probably the best, but that's also for medical professionals. And even then, unless you're using it properly, these masks, if you touch your face or your eyes and you're not wearing face coverings on public transportation, face coverings and goggles or face shield, remember, you can get it through your eyes if it's in the air. It's not just you breathing it. The reason why we're wearing masks, I said this like a dozen times, you wear the masks so it doesn't get in the air and infect everybody else. It significantly reduces it. So I wear the paper masks on top of this mask so it doesn't get out at all, if possible. Again, I take it very seriously to protect the other people around me. When I'm doing interviews, it's really hard to do this show. When I'm doing interviews with people, they want to remove the mask and I say, okay, and I just stay 2 meters away and I let them talk, but I keep my mask on. I tell them I have to keep my mask on. I want to remove it, but just as a protection for the person who's giving the interview, who's usually a lot older than me. So it's all about protecting the other people. And I don't want to catch it either, but reducing the amount of contacts. I'd rather stick to transportation for this Q&A if we can. Are you allowed to wear N95 masks on flights? You're allowed to wear any face covering or mask. There has not been a certain type of mask that has been mandated, just a face covering. What is your biggest goal for 2021? Wow. How often do you see tuner cars in Japan? I don't know. That's a Peter question. My biggest goal in Japan is to try to grow the new channel and to make stories. I don't know if it's a goal. I don't want to have a subscriber goal, because I don't think that is right now for me. The subscriber goal is not really a measure of success. A measure of success for me as a YouTuber, and I say that because I don't have a million subscribers anymore, but it was never really the reason why I did it. If your audience is watching the whole video, that's success. If your audience is watching your whole video and you have something that in YouTube called a click-through rate, CTR, if you have 5% of the people who see your thumbnail and title and click it and then watch the whole video, that's my goal, and that's how I measure success. Only in Japan has a very high watch time. Even the ones, the edited videos, people watch until the end. I'm very proud of that. I put a lot of love into it. I love what I do, and I think that, like with any products, and I think Elon Musk just said this in an interview on the Wall Street Journal yesterday. He says you can tell that if you really care about your products and you put a lot of love into it, and if you love what you do, people can feel that on the other side. And I think that through the edited videos, you can do that with Only in Japan. I'm pretty proud of it. Just like the manufacturer of the space boat, I'm sure he put love into that thing. This is by far the coolest boat. Just start humming any music. Heavy metal comes to my mind because it's just dramatic. Dun 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 dun. That's so awesome. Dive, Hotaluna. Oh, they're setting up because they're going to be going. You can stand on top of the boat. Let's see how many people are on there. Do you see anybody? Not a lot of people in there. There's a few. Mostly empty. I think I saw about 7 or 8 people. Mostly empty. I'd love to see James Bond jump on top of that. That would be a movie. That my goal for 2021 is to grow the channel and to get, I want to get an episode out a week and to build a team around my ideas to go out and film those and to help me edit it and to get out the production and just increase that, because I think that is a measure of success is also that you can run the channel well, and I could do a lot better job, and I can't use COVID as an excuse. I still have to find a way to get the shows done, and we're all presented with challenges, and I think I'm really, really close to getting a studio where I can sit down and do Twitch a lot more often, and I can get main channel episodes edited and out once a week, and I can get live streams. Look at this. This is like a spaceboat holiday here. Do you see anybody? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's about 15 people in there. It's not a lot of people. It's kind of empty inside there, which is a good thing. But Twitch channel's name is Only in Japan TV. I'm gonna be twitching a lot more, like twitching, live stream broadcasting on Twitch. My friend Scotty from Strange Parts is doing one daily now, and he set up his studio really well. And I might have encouraged him a little bit with live streaming. When we were here, he was here a couple of years ago. He did his first live stream with me walking through Akihabara, and he was asking so many questions like he does analytically. Such a smart guy, and his live streams are really good on Twitch. So I highly encourage you to go check out Scotty, especially if you like construction, like putting things together and the details and technology and electronics. He does that kind of stuff, and he's really, really good at it. And he's so much fun to listen to because he knows what he's talking to. Look between the legs. He's somebody who has a ton of passion in his content, and I like that. I think we connected like right away. We're just, when we're talking, we're like, yeah, we talk as though we're like really excited about stuff, and He's a good listener, and I sometimes like to listen. but we had fun. We always have fun when we're hanging out. Yeah, I will. We will see. Twitch is another goal of mine in 2021. So we're gonna get more Twitch streams. I don't know about daily, but whenever I'm in Tokyo, I'm gonna try to do something on Twitch because I think it's something. It's a platform that I really want to try to grow because I can connect really. It's just a different thing. So mobile live streams will always be here and only in Japan. Studio live streams sometimes here, but I might do mostly on Twitch and grow the audience there. Studio things where I can have call-in shows on Discord. So if you're following on Discord, you can call me and ask me questions. This is better than this format, maybe. This would be something that I would do on Twitch instead. Another channel, but I want to grow the brand and open up the merchandise store, which I wanted to open this year, but got delayed. Yeah. I don't do a lot of collaborations. I'm not really interested in collaborations, I'll be honest with you. I care about the story. I don't care too much about the collaboration unless that person has something really, an expert opinion or something that they can add to it, or they're a really, really good friend of mine. If they're a good friend of mine, then I just want to do the collaboration because it's fun. Like with Greg, when we went to the onsen together, it was something we've been talking about for a long time. Man, let's rent a car and just hang out and just film together. We're like, cool. So we'd go to bed and we would talk about cameras and gears and how we would improve the channel and show. When Trevor was here, we would talk about shooting in different countries and the gear and what it's like to travel with your wife and things like this. There's a difference between, why do I collaborate and why I don't, and I don't really want to collaborate because I think it will help the channel and get me views. If a YouTuber is just a YouTuber, what does he have to add or she have to add to the channel? I don't know. So what's the point? It doesn't add any value and it just makes it more difficult. Catherine, I'm sorry to hear about your canceled trip. Yeah, we had a lot of people cancel. When it comes to travel returning to Japan, it looks like it's gonna be longer than usual because the vaccine is gonna take a while to get here. I don't know how this is gonna shape out. But if we're not getting the vaccine until March, then it looks like April's gonna be really hard and May might be the magic number. But apparently, once the vaccine is here, everybody's going to get it within 30 days. They have some sort of infrastructure to get this all out real fast. I don't know. But I think it's going to be really dependent on the vaccine right now. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. When does it snow in Japan, Jacqueline? That's a great question. In Tokyo, it's like the temperature is very much like Washington, D.C., so it doesn't snow that often in Tokyo. If it snows, it melts usually the next day. It's already snowing in Hokkaido, of course. And Mount Fuji didn't have snow until about 2 weeks ago. When I was there, it didn't have any snow on the Pacific side, but it had snow on the other side. So, you know what? I will probably be able to show you a picture from Mount Fuji tomorrow from the airplane, right? So if I can get a picture of Mount Fuji, you'll be able to see if there's any snow up there. But most likely, snow starts to come in around this time. It just starts, and it's not until the end of the year that you really see accumulation. It also just depends. Sometimes the temperature just gets cold in December. I don't know, but it doesn't really turn into winter until about this time, like the 20th of December. Then it starts to turn really cold, but it still feels like autumn right now. Which side of the plane to see Mount Fuji? I don't know. Japan Airlines used to have, when you bought the tickets, it would tell the tourists which side to sit on. But it's hard to tell, it just depends on the flight path. But I think going to Kochi, where I'm going, you want to sit on the right side. But last time, we went directly over Mount Fuji, so nobody really saw it. Which is kind of cool. What? I know that there's 3 space boats, but it is Sunday. Space Boat is making an amazing appearance. It's really, I think it's gone back and forth during this hour that we've been talking. It's coming back again. It's crazy. How do you celebrate Christmas in Japan? We celebrate it differently. It's without our families, because at least I do. Expats have a tough time here. People Well, people, I mean, Japan is not a Christian country per se. It's really about Shogatsu, which is the New Year's, and that's when people in Japan are celebrating with their families over January 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Things are pretty much closed, and that's when they celebrate. But I don't think Christmas is the same. We do have Christmas parties, but they're mostly canceled. Company Bonenkais in the news, we just read, they've been canceled. Look at this boat. They have to run to make money, but there's almost nobody on there. A lot of empty seats I'm seeing. Shopping. Oh, this one's not going to Odaiba. This one is going to Toyosu, to Lalaport. It's not coming underneath the bridge. Interesting. That'd be pretty cool if Spaceboat had torpedoes. Yeah, get that other boat. We just saw them launched right now, and the red boat started to... let's not talk about that. Public transportation. Yeah, good questions, everybody. Free ad for Spaceboat on Only in Japan. You have to champion something. I don't get paid by Spaceboat. I just think it's cool. Don't you? Obon. I mean, Shogatsu, if I said Obon, sorry. The last time people traveled during Obon, it was kind of tough. Japan Rail has reported that 75% decrease in reservations for New Year's travel. Usually the Shinkansen is so packed, people are standing on the Shinkansen in between the cars. There's some areas where people are standing like this to get from one place to the other. There's 75% of the Shinkansens for New Year's are empty right now, which is very, very odd. And Japan Rail is going to make a lot less money this year, which is very worrying for them. So hopefully, maybe it increases a little bit, but it's going to be hard to do that. Standing on the Shinkansen stinks because you pay all that money and you don't get a seat. I've had to do it maybe 6 or 7 times during the holiday season. Best place for tacos in Tokyo? I don't know. My house. We make pretty good tacos. Don't know. The Himiko, yeah. That's about it. I'm glad that the chat started working. Any major location closings? Not really. I know that we lost a lot of businesses in Akihabara, but a lot of new businesses popped up. Some places have taken hiatus. Sega arcades are out of business. Sega stopped making game centers, and apparently they're out of the game center business. Somebody told me that. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't searched. I think it might be time to go to Akihabara and do a live stream there. But the game center business is completely obliterated because nobody was playing games, and PlayStation 5 came out, so now everybody's going to be staying at home. Nintendo Switch is out. Game centers pretty much did not have much of a life left in it anyways. I know, it's very, very sad. It was just sort of a place that I like to hold on to, because when I came here, we didn't have the game consoles, and game centers were a social place where you could just kind of be fun, and you felt like you were in Japan when you were at a game center, right? Now it's kind of gone. We will see what survives, but again, with Japan, and this was an important piece of news. The Japan Times had this yesterday. The vaccine does not look to be coming here until March, so despite the UK getting people vaccinated now and the US starting this month, doesn't seem like Japan is starting until March, and there's a reservation system for it. And if the reservation system is anything like the Olympic ticket system, we're probably not going to get vaccinated at all. It's kind of scary. That Olympic ticket system was a disaster. I didn't understand it. We didn't get any tickets. It kind of stunk. Chuck, thank you. Welcome, new traveler. You've unlocked some pretty cool emoji. We'll add some new ones in there. I'm going to ask Dakota if he would be able to make some emoji for the... he did a good job with the fireworks design. I'm going to ask Dakota if he can do some emoji and throw him some work. Support your local artists. Yeah. Any last questions? One last question, then I'm out of here. Maybe Japan wanted to see if the vaccine was any good. I hope it better be good. I'm pretty sure some of the best minds in the world have gone over this vaccine, so I'm sure it's good. Is it true the second person to have gotten the vaccine in the UK was named William Shakespeare? That's pretty funny if it is. That's pretty funny if it is. Orange jacket, Irvin, is in my closet. I put it on every now and then. I put it on. The Velcro on the sleeves is busted on there. I do wash my cap once a week. Of course I do. By the way, I have 3 of them, so it's not like I wear the same one every day. I got 3. It's like Beavis and Butthead. They had the same t-shirt, Metallica and Megadeth, but they had more than one of them. Everybody knows that. Doesn't look like there's any questions. Are people allowed to go to shrines? There's not been a lot of information on that yet, but it looks like there might be a reservation system like Fast Pass at Disneyland. I think that the information will be coming probably this coming week. But Hatsumode is what it's called, where people go on the January 1st or New Year's and go to pray, and there's usually a very long line. They might have like online tickets where you'll be giving a reservation time to go in and do to go and do your Hatsumode. And Kanai and I will be going to local shrines and staying away from the bigger ones. I see Nightbot is doing a pretty good job of recommending to join the Discord server. Good job, Nightbot, which is our automated artificial intelligence moderator. I don't know how Jennifer's doing. I called her a few weeks ago. She seemed to be doing okay. Hey, look, they got the Olympics down there. They're waving. Bye-bye. Under the bridge. Yeah, Jennifer did get a gig for Tokyo Eye. The director that I know, I couldn't do it, so Jennifer got the job. It's kind of good. I'm on Tokyo Eye this week. I'm doing but I'm doing it by Zoom. I'm not going into the studio. I'll be on at, I'm filming on the 17th at 12 o'clock noon. So Chris will be interviewing me about the pandemic via Zoom again. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time on Tokyo Eye this year. No, Nosh has summoned the Nightbot. It's true. Yeah, and this will be my 50th Tokyo Eye, I believe. 50 times been on the show. Hana is here in Japan now. She's doing okay. She was in quarantine, and I think she's just getting out of it. But she came back from Macedonia. She was in Macedonia and flew through Istanbul back to Tokyo a couple weeks ago. It'd be nice to meet up with her. She usually plays a song for us on New Year's. She gets her guitar out. I'm not sure. And Skopje. She was just north of there, I think. Yeah. Macedonia is an underrated country that more people should go and visit, maybe. Her stories have been pretty good from Macedonia. All right, folks, have a good day. Thanks so much. We got a lot of new members. I'll be tomorrow morning going to Haneda Airport, and I'll take you with me. You get a look inside of Haneda Airport. No vending machines, maybe vending machine, I'm not sure. I'll be flying to Kochi for 3 days, and I'll be doing live streams from Shikoku tomorrow until Wednesday, and then I'm coming back on Wednesday night, and we'll do for the rest of the year mostly live streams from Tokyo and this area. I don't think I'm going to be leaving. I might go to Mount Fuji once to finish an episode, but that's about it. So have a good day, everybody. Thanks so much for the questions. I'm glad that the chat works, and see you soon. See you tomorrow morning, first thing, bright and early. Evening for all of you.